100% win rate across the board. I mean, they're so consistent, they're clearly dialed as a unit, and as we said before, there's a lot of teams that I think, and a lot of just observers, that the team time trial on Zwift is it's a unique proposition. There's so much to learn from, so much data to mine and look at, but they're a team that I think a lot of other teams are going to look to and try and learn from, because the gaps are coming down. I mean, last season, the gaps are a minute, they're now half a minute, 25 seconds and less. So I don't think they'll necessarily have it their own way, but at the moment they are the dominant squad in women's racing, and fair play to them because they have set the bar very, very high indeed. Well, Hannah, thanks very much indeed. We'll be speaking to you a little bit later at the end of the programme. We've got another race, Dave, haven't we? It's the men, and they're off in a few minutes' time. What are your thoughts on the teams to watch out for tonight with the men? Because we've seen the past season very, very close indeed, and the top 3 places overall are up for grabs here.
Yeah, well, and I'm not going to backpedal. That won't get you anywhere, will it, this sport? But what I will say is watch out for PO Auto today, as far as they are a little tender. They don't have Full-Dagger and they don't have Muff.
I'm behind Freddie,
racing.
right?
And these have been 2 of the cornerstones for that squad. Now, Michael Knudsen is still there, the Danish Everesting champion, the virtual Everest. Absolutely amazing story. We'll talk about him during the race, but they're going to be bringing some new talent on board. Now, you never know what we're going to see with PO Auto today. Canyon, again, such a strong team with so much depth. They're certainly going to be up there, but I'm really looking at Legion of LA. Maybe they come out of the woodwork for us here. We've talked so much about Freddie. He's, again, one of the greatest that we have in this generation, but the team is much deeper than they get credit for, or at least, kind of when you hear people talking about this team, it's Freddie. Well, there's a lot more here than Freddie. Tyler Williams, I saw that Corey Williams just cut off his beard. That's how serious he is. He's not even, he's not going to play around. So, yes. So that beard had its own zip code, I heard. So you get a look at the teams that are going to be really contesting out here. And, I mean, I'll remember Vetus. They had a breakthrough ride in the team time trial. We talked about Kirkmeyer doing the same thing. Who's going to be shocking us today? And will Saris the Pros Closet? Because, Matt, to be fair, much like Heino, they've been incredibly consistent throughout this entire season. They're the one team that hasn't missed a step. They've got one more to take here.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that Kirkmeyer could do another ride. I mean, they like the kind of flatter circuits. I mean, they put in a big surprise on the opening team time trial of this season with the 2nd place. Let's have a look at the results of last season's race on this very course, just so we can get a bit of a gauge of some of the times. There we go. Canyon Esports took it with a 38.07. And that's quite a big margin, considering the kind of races we've seen this year. I'm not expecting the margins to be quite as close. Saris was 2nd there with a 38.28. PO Auto Ceramic Speed, they've got a different lineup as Dave's just gone into with a 38.32. Bolt Race Team, they haven't quite had the same strength this year. Aero there, Draft, Callas, Insured, powered by Pedal Power. Dutch Racing, I think Dutch Racing, powerful squad. They could do a good ride today. Vitus Esports 2, World of Elite Zwifters, Kiss Racing Team, and then Turbo. Of course, looking at that lineup, there are a few teams like Zwift Warriors, for example, that have come up from the community leagues, and also the Kirkmeyer team. They're going to be my outlier team, I think, for today, Dave. Although you can't really call them outliers when they've had a second place already this season, but they clearly do favour these kind of flatter circuits. And they're a team that I think Saris and the Pros Closet will want to see perform well. Even maybe, as long as they don't beat Saris, they'll want to get in between Canyon Esports and PO Auto. This is going to be an absolutely superb race today. Great women's event, dominated again by Heino. But I think this one, Dave, is going to be closer to call. There's going to be some very, very nervous teams on the line today as we see our first team off. And the first team off is Team Aero. They're sitting in a 21st position at the moment. They've only got 13 points, Dave. They are going to be relegated, sadly, to the community division. But they're a team that we're familiar with, and I'm sure they'll bounce back.
A lot of credit to this team, Matt. They race in a very inconvenient time zone, certainly. This is Harley Moore, Nick Squilari, Benjamin Hill, Stinnis Kampen, and Mark O'Brien rolling out 5 strong. So good luck to our Australian contingent here. Matt, it's really an interesting scenario when you look at the top of the table here, because as we said at the show, beginning of the show, Ceres the Pros Closet is the only team that controls their own destiny. If they win the season. Now, it's wide open when you look at PO Auto, Ceramic Speed, and Canyon. Canyon a little bit closer, but it's going to be, as you said, Dutch Racing, maybe Legion of LA, Callis, Kirkmeyer, who knows? But if these two teams, talking about PO and Canyon, if they don't get some help with teams having outstanding rides, it's not enough to just beat Ceres. You need 3 teams or 5 teams to beat Ceres if you're in this comeback position. That's where, when you look at it right now, Ceres the Pros Closet is locked and loaded. They are looking today to just do what they do, ride consistently. And Matt, they've done it all season long. I would not bet against them out here today. We're in with KISS Racing now. Team starting on 30-second intervals as we get a look at the third rider is where your time is going to be taken off of. Matt, I'm going to imagine that by the time this one is paid, there's going to be people in hospital passing a kidney stone that are in less pain than some of our 3rd and 4th riders out here trying to get across the line, because this is going to be brutal how hard they're going to be pushing themselves out here today.
Yeah, the team time trial is a very, very challenging discipline, especially if you're on a bad day, as we look at Team Turbo. The 3rd team off the ramp tonight. They sit in 19th position on the general rankings. They're looking for a good ride tonight. They can quite possibly move out of the drop zone if they finish 6 or 7 places in front of No Pins R3R. So although mathematically it's going to be a challenge, they are going to throw absolutely everything at this race tonight. Andrew Evans, Hayden Warner, Jack Bardi, William Zugab, and Tanner Ward. They are going to try. I mean, they're riding tightly at the moment. That is the ideal kind of formation. Not much of a gap in between. You can just see Hayden Warner sticking out 500 watts. And just behind, they're saving about 150, even 200 watts. So roughly kind of estimating what these guys' FTPs are going to be. They're going to be doing turns on the front, Dave, around between 130 and 100% of their FTP. But Turbo, the race for them tonight is about survival against this team. No Pins are throughout. They have a bad night. They're in the drop zone. So an interesting battle at the bottom of the table, Dave, as well as at the top 2.
Yeah, there's no doubt No Pins is highly motivated. This is going to be, and it's what's so much fun about these leagues, right, is that there's going to be trajectories that you have. Some teams are on their way up. Other teams are looking to stay up in the Premier League. And that's going to be quite a battle out here today. So No Pins R3R, a very well-known team in the world of esports. Liam Bard, Neil Richards, Chris Smart, Zach Harner, and Mark Steinley making up this squad. They look like they're working very well together here in the early going. You know, Matt, you watch this now. These guys are very, very close to having cracked the code as far as the precision. We talked about the 3 Ps, right? Precision, power, and patience. Well, for the strongest riders, and Hannah does such a great job describing that moment where you're on the front here. The stronger riders take longer pulls. We saw a little bit of trouble with the Ceres the Pros Closet women's team, where Jackie Godby was so strong she was blowing her team up. So it became almost a little counterproductive, Matt, sometimes when you have one rider who's 10% better than any other rider on the team. That's challenging. And so what the director's job is to keep that rider on the front longer, take deeper, harder pulls, but not necessarily going faster, because, Matt, these teams are on the A-train schedule. They are moving very, very quickly.
They certainly are. This is a restart racing. Daniel Giambrosic, Dean Cunningham of Scotland, Hal Blackburn, Jaden Jager, and Luke Goulibiot of Canada. Got a really nice formation going at the moment. You can just see Jager on the front. Look at Jager's stats. They are 7.1 watts a kilo. And the rider just behind, although he's rolling through now, you can just see Jager. There was a moment there when Jager literally just backed off the pedals. There is a kind of almost the opportunity to get like a microsecond just to dispense with some of that lactic acid. Jager, almost like in the team time trial on the track, a team pursuit. Obviously, you can't freewheel on a track bike, but dropping back dramatically and then getting back onto the wheel now. So Jam Rozik on the back at 312 watts, and then the Canadian on the front. A disparity and a discrepancy, or a difference, should I say, Dave, of around 200 watts which is kind of near 80 to 100% saving, which is absolutely astonishing. Just shows you how important it is to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. You know, one of the most complicated things about riding in a breakaway is going hard, but not so hard that you put yourself in danger of being dropped. Well, bizarrely, these guys are almost in the same situation after you take a huge pull. And right now we're looking at Timmy Bauer here on the front out of Northern California. What a spirit he is. One of just the nicest guys in esport racing here. And he's got a huge engine. So for Timmy, he's going to be motivated to do a great ride for the Finesse Rockets. This is a team that he joined. Jordan Shane was in the World Championships representing Canada. But watch this now, Matt. You see that little gap there? This is what you don't want to do. You're out in the wind here, and Timmy does a tremendous job here of getting right back up into the draft. Very good work right now by the Finesse Rocket. Should give Alex Tenselhoff some credit as well. Very strong rider. Joseph Chuduk as well as Matt Usborne, who is up in Vancouver, British Columbia. He rides out on his porch in a high-rise condo there in downtown Vancouver. He's got quite the setup. Using natural cooling, Matt, because you're running your engine very, very hot. You're not in the red zone here. You're in the purple zone already. Let's pick up Swedish Swifters right now. I'll throw it to you for all the Swedish names, Matt.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dave. That's very kind of you. My Swedish is limited, Dave, but I can say Alexander Wetterell, an ex-pro from the road, a very, very good time trialist in practice. Alexander Wetterell, he is medalled in at the Swedish Open TT Championships. Johan Noren, Marcus Dorsch, Marcus Sjögren, and Andres Frisk. Very, very quick finisher indeed. You just see Noren, he's the rider on the front at the moment. Just look at his stats, just touching under 500 watts, 6.6 watts a kilo. And then look at Sjögren at the back, 247 watts. That is the difference. Get in the slipstreams, stay there, recover as much as you can. And it's interesting, Dave, about this sort of course. As we go up one of the small climbs, this is only a drag of about 4%, lasts about 300-400 meters. We might see them blobbing up. There we go. Just see the riders grouping up a little bit on here, just to save that little bit of energy. You do see the riders grouping together. I mean, we saw this happen a lot more in New York because the course is so hilly. So many different changes in course elevation. But here it is pretty flat. But this is one of the only times you will see them blob up on this little climb as we swing left here. We're heading now to team draft. I'll throw it straight back for you to talk about the men in red.
Oh, good. We've got to know a lot about Ed Veal and Bruce Bird, two talented riders with huge hearts coming out of Canada. Ryan Rutherham is there, another Canadian on this squad. So they've got 3 Maple Leafs. That's always a good sign. That's good luck in some cultures. The Jet Scott representing Scotland, and Ross Fawcett there with the Union Jack next to his name. This is a strong squad that's up and coming. But when you look at Bruce Bird here, I love the part that this man races with. No doubt that both he and Ed Veal have got that tremendous capacity for pain. So it's hard not to cheer on a team like Draft here, Matt, as they work their way through. I would completely agree with your earlier assessment as well about the blobbing up. You know, every team comes into a team time trial with a pretty set plan. It's structured, no doubt. You've got pacing schedules, there's a director, they're all on Discord communicating, there's an order that the riders have. But as Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Well, that last 4% climb, that's probably where that happens, where all of a sudden the set order that you were racing with, you're going to start shuffling, you're going to start having riders skipping pulls at this point, and riders being asked to take longer pulls out here. And that is what makes team time trialing so complex. It is like a Machiavellian chess match in a time trial here. It's not just about how you feel, it's about working that with the rest of the riders in the group. As we pick up Bolt Racing Team, always a team to watch here, Matt, with Matt Brook, Cybran Welling, Will Budge, and Tom Gox. Is 4 riders not ideal. This is the kind of day where you want to keep everybody on board. Oh, no, it is 5. I'm sorry, everybody there. My bad.
Yeah, just getting the stats for 4 of those guys, but it is Hugh Davis on at the front at the moment. We haven't got his stats there, but he's the rider from Wales doing that long turn on the front. We think roughly most of these teams kind of optimized will be riding on the front for around 20 to 30 seconds. But it's about keeping that really, really high speed on a course like this, given the standard of racing as we look at Kirkmare. They've kind of feel pretty at home in this league, Kirkmare, Dave Downer. They're currently sitting in 11th place at the moment. They have 63 points. They've got they're sharing 11th and 12th with Bolt Racing Team, so they could move themselves properly into the top 10 if they put a few places between them and Vitus, who sit in ninth. But this team have really, really impressed me. They've had several kind of top tens in the points races, but then that standout performance that really opened our eyes to this German team was, of course, back in round 2 in France with that second place, only 5 seconds behind Pio Auto. And I think, Dave, if they be interested to look at the intermediate splits, this is a team that, if they get it right, could cause an upset today.
Could not agree more, Matt. When you talk about trajectory, this is a team that will be a perennial top 5. 2 of these riders are standouts, Ingo Reichardt and Johannes Reckenauer. Andre Reinland, Jakob Stenzel, and Jan Steinman make up this squad. We're going to jump in with Assured Pedal Power now. Another long-standing team. I should mention that Kirkmeyer is one of the teams, along with the Zwift Warriors, that came out of Zwift community that have done more than keep their head above water out there. They've been throwing punches above their weight. Even as you mentioned, Kirkmeyer had a top 3 ride already. So let's go ahead and jump in, though, with Assured Pedal Power, as this is Jamie Morris, Simon Collett, Jake Simons, Neil Ostenfeld, and Collett there as well. Looking like a unit, working well together here. Again, folks just joining us, it's just over 31 kilometers of racing, a little over 160 meters of climbing, which is almost nothing. It's not quite nothing, but it has an impact. There's a couple sectors there, as Matt was highlighting earlier, that 4% grade. Heavy Vitus that we're jumping in with now, Mr. McGlinchey, another one of the riders who certainly has made his name in esports racing out of Northern Ireland. Matt, only 3 riders, though. That's not ideal.
It's certainly not. It's the 3 very good riders, Ashton, McGlinchey and Kenway. But given the opposition, I mean, it's quite clear. Anybody knows anything about Team Time Trial and will know that this team is at a distinct disadvantage. Funnily enough, in the last Team Time Trial of Season 1, they actually finished 3rd, only 19 seconds behind Canyon. So once they've got the full complement, once they're running at full steam, we know this is a team that can really make a difference. It'll be interesting what they do today, but there's just not the same opportunity to recover. They're going to have to do slightly longer turns on the front. It's just a very, very difficult proposition. The standards are so high, and you're underpowered by 20 foot. Well, they're basically 40% underpowered here, Dave, aren't they? And that's no fault of their own. They've got 3 riders. They're going to have to do what they can as we move a little bit further down now. This is the Zwift Warriors of cycling. They've had a great season, haven't they? The Zwift Warriors out of Japan, primarily with the Australian infiltrator there, Simon Ritchie. They're, I mean, sitting in 7th place. They've had such a solid season. I mean, and they're safe into Season 3 as well, and they've sit in the middle of the table. And again, they could, if they beat Callas by a few places, they could move up, but I think they would be pretty happy with a really solid top 10 place in their first ever season at the Premier Division.
What is the word? Unami, that special flavor. And that's what racing needed, was this team right here. The Zwift Warriors Cycling has brought a lot to the sport. And you know what, Matt? If things had gone a little bit differently, they might have just won one of our points racing days as well. A couple of these guys, Hidenori Sasaki is a tremendous climber. Kanji Abeki, also a rider to watch. I mean, everybody on the screen right now has got potential. And that hope and potential, right, Matt? 2021, those should be 2 words to focus on. That's for sure. This team represents all of that. Takato Ikeda and Yuki Tanaka. A lot of talent here. Definitely a team to watch. Keep them on your radar. And I think Simon Ritchie is in such a unique position as well. Matt, you raced around the globe. You know that one of the coolest things about cycling are the people that you meet and the cultures that you get to experience. And I hope that Simon gets to take a trip up to maybe go join them for the Tokyo Olympics.
I think he would. Yeah, I'm sure he would love that. Yeah, the Zwift Warriors, as I said, they sat in 7th position. Actually, yeah, maybe I would love to. I would love to. But we're looking now at the world of elite Zwifters. This is Team Wes. Jimmy Kershaw, Maida Franklin from Brazil, Stefan Bennett from France. And we have 2 Canadians, Chris Yip and Chris Ernst. And they're riding in a very, very nice and tight formation. They'll be swinging left onto the mole. They'll be going through that first intermediate split. It comes at 7.6 Ks. This will give us our first real kind of check on how the teams are riding tonight. The second intermediate split is at Westminster at 16.8, and then the and lower Thames Street at 24.1 before they run down this mall again for the final time. But World of Elite Zwifters, again, a really solid season so far for these guys.
This team has raced in WTRL for a lot of weeks. They're coming up on their 100th race it'll be just a couple weeks until they hit 100, but they have done their homework talking about World Elite Zwifters. Now we look at the Norwegian squad. Again, as our Scandinavian specialist, I'll throw it back to you, Matt, for the names. Did you ever race in Norway during your career? It's certainly...
Yes, I did. I raced in the World Championships, World Road Championships in 1993, when a certain Jan Ulrich won the amateurs and a certain Lance Armstrong won the pros. So that was my only time, I think, in Norway. But great memories, and they've got a really rich heritage in cycling. For a small nation, they really can. They've got a lot of good riders: Ole Christian Fart, Christian Oftendal, Odd Erland Hansen, Martin Roster Omdal, and Uvik Lovik. This is a slightly different lineup that we've seen before as we look at Legion of Los Angeles, and they are catching them. So the action has already begun, Dave. Legion of Los Angeles flying around this course, led by the irrepressible Freddie Ovett, Alex Cowan just behind there. It looks like the first catch of the night on our virtual cameras, Dave, is going to be made. I mean, no Legion of Los Angeles. We said it before. Okay, Freddie Ovett, the standout individual, Dave, but they are a very cohesive unit indeed and sit equal fourth on the general classification. But look at this, Kirkmaier, the first to starters at the moment with 6:24. That's an amazing start. The German team heading for an upset. Zwift Warriors in second. What a start by them. We are in for a humdinger of an evening as the catch is made under Abratiot. Do you see that? Freddie Ovett even gave him a cheeky wave. What the
Can he take a second?
Oh, gives him a cheeky wave. I've never seen a wave given in it with a catch. He's rewriting the e-sports rulebook with every single pedal stroke.
Putting a little mustard on the pain.
I'm going to skip a turn.
There is Freddie Ovett as they roll through. So now you got to look at the whole squad. They are on a great day today. This is Legion of LA. One of the best stories in cycling. We've talked about that over the last year, what they're doing here. That's Corey Williams tucked right into the middle of the group. I highly recommend his Instagram. Nation's #1 beast is where you'll find Corey for some great stories. Tyler Williams, we had inboard with Tyler last week racing out of Sonoma County. Sam Boardman, who's down there right outside of San Diego. And then the Canadian Alec Cowan, winner at Cascade in his career, but he's now living in Arkansas. Fayetteville, Arkansas is the new epic spot to go mountain bike. Actually, any kind of cycling here in the United States, Matt. When you next time we can travel, I'd highly recommend that we meet up there. So this team and Fuego
Tim, I'm
right now. So the Warriors, look at this, quicker than Kirkmaier at that check. So we're updating at that checkpoint. I mean, you know that Legion of LA is in Fuego, yet Kirkmaier is a little quicker there, as are the Zwift Warriors. This is turning into an absolute Donnybrook. Expect bedlam here today in London, Matt. I love it because we've still got our fastest teams to go through that check.
We certainly do. We've got Dutch racing. They've already gone through it. So Saris at the Pros Closet have just gone through that check. We'll get the update, the full update in a moment. Remember, Zwift Warriors currently leading. I have a feeling, well, it might not change. Of course, if they are the quickest, they are the quickest. We're still looking at the Legion of Los Angeles at the moment. Loading up very nicely on this downhill section. You just saw Canyon going the other way. And there we go. Let's have a look at, there it is. So Zwift Warriors are leading Kirkmaier at 0.2 of a second. Saris and the Pros Closet, well, they are in pole position at the moment. But look at that, it's pretty much the same time, 2/300ths of a second. And look at Saris, Legion, Canyon, all pretty much on the same time. This is going to go down to the wire. Great riding by Vitus Esports, 8:10 with only 3 riders. This is absolutely sensational stuff at the moment. Very close to call. Remember, look back to last year, Dave. Just a quickie to remind you, Canyon Esports wound out on top. Saris and the Pros Closet second. Pio Auto Ceramic Speed in third. That was season 1. The current standings, season 2. Saris lead by 2 points to Canyon Esports, then another 2 points back to Pio Auto Ceramic Speed. At the moment, we can't split them. This is going to be very close indeed, as we still focus on Legion of Los Angeles, currently in second position, or third position, should I say, 4 seconds.
As they say, we sell you the entire seat, but you are only going to be using the edge of it here today. Matt, we had 4 teams within half a second of each other. So clearly, I have a feeling that that pacing schedule is being used to the same pacing schedule is being used by a few teams. It's very important to note that this is one of the pivotal teams out here today. Dutch Racing on your squad. Now, if one of the two teams, PO Auto Ceramic Speed or Canyon, is going to win the season, they are counting on this Dutch squad to beat their competitors. Not so obviously, let's just look at it from PO Auto Ceramic Speed's perspective. They need not only this team, Dutch Racing, but a couple of other squads. As a matter of fact, they would be as inspired as anyone by the ride they're seeing from Legion of LA right now, Matt, because you need a lot of help if you want to make your way onto the, here's PO Auto now. So this is one of the teams that we've talked a lot about. They've been the monsters of team time travel. You cannot deny that. However, they had some technical issues, some internet dropouts, some riders getting caught in bad positioning on a couple different days of racing out here where it was starting to look like they were the team to beat as we came into the middle part of the season, Matt. That all changed. It became Canyon. Then another twist of fate puts our friends at Ceres the Pros Closet, who've just been consistent and strong throughout the season. I never want to sell short what Ceres the Pro Closet has been doing out here. That team has remained. They've kept their head in the game, their eye on the prize, and now they're bearing down on it one final time. This is going to be unbelievably fun racing to watch here. I wouldn't want to be doing it myself, that's for sure, because these guys are going to be digging incredibly deep. Let's take a look now at this is going to be Canyon Esports, the team currently sitting in second on the table, 2 points out of the lead. Alex West, Gary Mueller, Lionel Viasa, another big star in esports. Ollie Jones, who's been finding the podium now, and the American talented Spencer Segaboom. All right, Matt, this is one of the key teams today.
Yep, Canyon Esports member sits in second place overall, only 2 seconds behind. So 2 points, should I say, behind Saris and the Pros Closet. And they have a very, very well-driven line. Remember, they are the champions of the ZRL Season 1, coming into the final round with everything to play for, and they're going to put everything into this one. So well drilled. Still 5 riders in the mix there. It'll be fascinating to see what they can do at the second intermediate split. But let's move on to Saris, because they are the leaders. Saris and the Pros Closet, they have such a strong all-round team. And there we go, Dan Fleeman, the former British Hill Climb champion, pro on the road, Gavin Dempster from Scotland, Matt Brandt, Matt Kerber, and Ryan Larson, former American Zwift champion. And at the moment you can see Dan Fleeman doing a big turn on the front, hovering around 6 watts a kilo. He's sticking out just under 400 watts at the moment. This is the slightly downhill section, so that's why the power isn't quite as high. It's very, very challenging and difficult when the road drops to actually keep on top of the power. But as soon as the road levels, as soon as the road starts to pitch up again, that's when you see the power increase dramatically. And now Larson on the front. So good formation so far. We're coming into the second split in a minute. The earlier teams have already gone through, but it's going to be very, very telling indeed. But a solid performance by Finesse at the moment with 20.58 as we look at the power of Gavin Dempster. Well, they're 5 watts a kilo, Dave, making it look like a walk in the park, but sat in second position, just showing again the level of performance needed here.
There is no chink in the armor at all. This is now, for them, they are locked down and focused on the finish of this race, and they're going to be riding to a season championship if they can just keep this going. I mean, the team time trial is amazing. It really is. It requires the touch of a magician, an unbelievably subtle touch with the power of Hercules. And you need 5 riders that can do that. And this team has set the standard, along with PO Auto, to be fair. But you watch today here in London, they want to put on a clinic. Gavin Dempster out of Scotland has had some big wins individually this season, and now he's on a part of an e-sport. This is a movement of people here. This team has a lot of fans out there, and right now, Dan Fleeman, who was a former professional, one of the really talented riders who brings in real life experience and nicely blends that in. This team cross-pollinates together to lemon and lime. This is the Lyman of racing out here.
It certainly is, with Dempster out of the saddle here on one of these very, very short little drags. And that's the thing about a team time trial. have already kind of sat in the saddle, and not many opportunities on this London course to actually get out of the saddle. So generally, once your back or your backside starts aching a little bit, you might just knock it up a couple of cogs and then start the low cadence to just get out of the saddle. But this is Kirkmare, and it looks like Kirkmare are actually starting to catch the team in front of them at the moment, and that will be Bolt Racing that they're going to go past in a minute. So they're just heading briefly, just head over the bridge, over the River Thames, through this little underground section, essentially linking the City of London into the Surrey Hills. They won't be going over any of the big climbs in the Surrey Hills, but this is a good indicator. Kirkmare onto a pretty solid performance, and there it is. They're currently leading at the intermediate split. Still several teams to go through, but Kirkmare leading 3.5 seconds ahead of Draft. Finesse 15 seconds behind as we look at the figure of Jan Steinman. So the first catch, Dave, looks as if it's going to be made just on the exit of these tunnels on the roads of Surrey.
As a team director, you love this moment when your team has a carrot dangling right out in front of them, Matt. They're as motivated as they could possibly be to go make that catch. Cover and kill is the mindset that you need with your athletes. And you can just say, go get them. And there you have it. Kirkmare is going to have a tremendous time out here today. It's, I mean, will they come out of the woodwork today, Matt, to be one of those teams that slots in? Because that's what everybody outside of Ceres, the pros closet, is in a pretty wild mathematical equation right now, trying to figure out how to get enough points. There's only 2 teams that realistically have a shot. We've been spending some time with Pio Auto Ceramic Speed. They're going to, the magic number for them is 5. 3 is the magic number for Canyon. But the way things are going out here right now, it's looking like Ceres, the pros closet, is having the ride that they're looking for. But we're going to get a good look at Kirkmare. Again, Ingo Reichardt is the locomotive right now. That man is a watt car, no doubt about it, as he's throwing down some watt bombs here. But we're back in with the Zwift Warriors. They've got 4 riders, Matt. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you had a rider who was able to participate in the first half of the race. This is where you have to give our game designers a ton of credit, figuring out how to connect these 2 worlds. London into, I guess it would be London into Surrey. Is that right, Matt?
It is. It's London into the Surrey Hills, and what better way to do it than by something pretty traditional in London, and that is the London Underground. And look at that. They've even taken care, Dave, to put boards over the train tracks. I mean, yeah, the designers have actually gone to town, had a lot of fun, but it's very thoughtful, because that would be a very, very bumpy ride indeed for Takado Aikida and the rest of his teammates, because the Zwift Warriors, Dave, are about to catch Vitus Esports. So superb riding here by the primarily Japanese setup. They'll be going through well, there's the situation. They were 4th, so Zwift Warriors at 8 seconds, so still very, very close indeed, at just over half distance. So a great performance by the Zwift Warriors to only be 8 seconds behind Kirkmare. Just shows the real depth in this squad. They've really got to grips with racing at this kind of level. Kirkmare, the fastest team out on the road, and it looks like Kirkmare have caught now the team in front of them, and that was Bolt Racing. So expected them to have a good performance tonight, Dave, and they are flying around this course at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely interesting to me that Zwift Warriors, Matt, 8 seconds behind this team right here that look like they're racing on the Autobahn, as we now jump in with, I would say, the primarily Canadian outfit. It's going to be Bruce Bird here of Draft. So this team in red, again, very easy to pick out. A lot of fans out there, as they are more than holding their own out here today. I'm watching this camera angle here to see if there are 5 or 4 riders still left for the squad, as you see Fawcett coming through. There they are.
5
entire team still together here.
Yeah, great run. I mean, as you said, they look like they are actually catching one of the teams in front of them. They're actually going to catch, but they can see the team at Swedish Swifters just in front of them over the hill. They can juice that little blob, so they're maybe only about 10 seconds behind the Swedish team. But look at this. On the right-hand side, Kirkmare still the fastest team. Legion of Los Angeles, 4 and a bit seconds behind. World of Elite Swifters in 4th. We've still got some of the teams. Dutch Racing, Pio Auto, Ceramic Speed, and Canyon Esports, and of course Saris to go through. And it is Canyon who now have gone 1 second quicker than Kirkmare. They are on the ride of the night so far. They need something very, very special indeed. They need to finish 3 clear places in front of Saris to beat them on points. Saris are coming through the intermediate split now. What time have they managed to do? There'll be a couple of seconds delay before the Saris time comes onto the right-hand side of our screen here. This is going to be very, very... They're 1.5 seconds down with Kirkmare in between. So if that current situation stays, they'll be equal on points at the top, Dave. This is an absolute humdinger, a thriller of a finale for Season 2. We're half distance, and Dave, you cannot split these teams. Sensational stuff tonight.
It doesn't get better than this, Matt. We've got ourselves pandemonium in the streets of London right now. Look at this. So Draft and Legion of LA, if one of those two teams can get up in top of Saris the Pro's closet, this is all hands on deck. Panic stations go out. Boy, if you're a director, you don't want to be saying panic stations, do you? That's for sure. You want to keep these guys calm, cool, and collected, because Saris the Pro's closet is up against it right now. As far as the Zwift Racing League, Charlie, the whole team that works to put this together, certainly our friends at WTRL as well, this is what we have been waiting for, a team time trial to decide the season, and it is a matter of seconds. It is a ding-dong battle going on in London right now as we jump back in with Ollie Jones, Spencer Sagerbrook, Gary Mueller, and Alex West. This is Canyon. This is the team that's trying to use some sleight of hand out here and steal the title from Saris the Pro's closet. Oh, man, this is good stuff, my friend.
This is so tight at the top. As you said, the Dutch racing aren't too far behind. Legion still only 4 seconds adrift. We've got PO Auto. It looks like PO Auto, we can just see them. It looks like Canyon might actually make the catch. They've still got a few hundred meters to go. You can just see them going out of the vision at the moment. Remember, all of these teams started at only 30-second intervals, but it looks as if Canyon might actually catch PO Auto, which is absolutely sensational. Remember, round 5, it's PO Auto who took the win in the team time trial. 2 seconds ahead of Canyon. Canyon are on the ride of the night so far, but it is so tight to call. And of course, everybody will have that same bit of information. They'll be fed the data, fed the stats, and based on that, they're going to try and find something else. This is going to hurt like no other team time trial. So much at stake as we see the figure of Spencer Sagerbrook of the United States of America putting his turn in on the front. 7.5 watts a kilo. Absolutely throwing down the watts with Jones and Vujasan on his wheel.
Boy, if you're Canyon right now, it's not only this exceptional effort that your team is making, but you have got your director watching very closely and hoping that Kirkmare can have the ride of their lives too. That's what's so interesting about this final race, is that we mentioned at the top, one team controls their destiny. That's going to be Saris the Pro's closet, but they needed to win this race to be sure that they were going to win the season. That is not happening right now. So we're going to move back. This looks like Aero to me, the Australian team, and I have a feeling that our first teams are going to be bearing down on the finish line pretty quickly here, as this one will be done and dusted for our first squads. But things are really hotting up back with all of our contenders today. That 3-team race is going to be, it could be that top that you were talking about, Matt. That's entirely possible, and then it comes down to who has the better ride today.
And if the situation remains, I mean, actually, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to make any predictions, Dave, until we see them cross the line. But what we know is we have got a battle. I'm not going to throw the curse of the commentator into the mix. I am certainly not going to do that as we look at Benjamin Hill. Great to see Team Aero. I mean, they are, unfortunately, as we mentioned, going to be relegated, but they are giving it everything, and just shows the kind of spirit that all of these teams have, regardless of their place and their position in the league. Because Aero, we know they're a team that have been around a long time, and as you said, Dave, they're racing at a completely at odds to the ideal times that a lot of these teams who are based in Europe, etc. As we go back again to Canyon still with that fastest time so far, and it looks as if they are going to catch PO Auto. They're doing it slowly but surely, and Dave, you can just see PO Auto in the top of your screen as we just go through some of the gently rolling sections here in Surrey. Vujasan now on the front, pressing home the advantage, and that'll be an extra carrot in front of them. This will really be giving them extra motivation, won't it, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the best time trialists in the world. Used to say, Rowan Dennis, don't crack under pressure. Well, that's the name of the game right now for this team here as well, is not cracking. They got a great leader on this team with the experienced Belgian rider, the Duck, Lionel Vujasan, here as he finishes up his pole. 5 riders together. That's going to be the difference of a second or two, Matt. when you look at it now. The teams that are running with 3, 4 riders, this is where they start taking on water like the Titanic, to tell you the truth, because the teams that keep rolling through, remembering, and everybody looks like they're taking good, strong pulls right now. That is Gary Mueller up to the front. Again, just one of the very few moments where you can use the Super Tuck, which will never be outlawed in Zwift. Don't worry.
Yep, the Super Tuck, as you said, it's now, well, what are we? It's not banned until the 1st of April in real life.
Another
it's
month.
certainly used here.
Right.
It's, we've got another month till that one's formally banned. We'll see how that one pans out. But at the moment, we're looking at Lionel Vuillersan. Yes, his pet duck. Yes, folks, if you're listening to this for the first time, you go, what? He's got a pet duck? Yes, he has got a pet duck. Its name is Gilbert, after his hero, Philippe Gilbert. And Vuillersan and the rest of his teammates are riding like heroes tonight. They know they've got everything to do. They started 2 points behind the men in green, yellow and white. Saris and the Pros Closet had 1-2-4. Canyon have 1-2-2 points. Pio Auto Ceramic Speed, who are about to be caught by Canyon Esports, have 1-20. But what Canyon need? They do need another team, or they'd love another team to beat Saris and the Pros Closet. That's the mathematical situation. They can only do so much. Then all they can hope for is that Saris and the Pros Closet are beaten by some other squads. Because at the moment, Canyon Esports are doing all they can, and they're doing it very well. But the gaps are very, very narrow indeed, Dave.
With a little help from our friends, is the what would be playing in the background into the finale here for Canyon, and it's going to be 2 friends that they need as far as other teams that can beat Saris the Pros Closet. What an interesting equation. So as if Canyon wasn't motivated enough, here is super champion out of Australia, Ollie Jones, taking a monster pull right now. And this is where it gets a little tenuous. Don't want to blow up the team, because Ollie is clearly motivated here by the team right in front of them. So up in front of you, back behind you, the action is left, right, and center. It's just all over the shop right now as you see the teams honing in on the finish line. Is Kirkmeyer done enough? Look at this. So fastest time at the check, 29:56. That's got draft up into some. We do need to wait on a couple teams, so we'll keep take a deep breath here, because that's not all of the data that we're waiting for here. But at 24 in a 24.1K, this is the check. Kirkmeyer 29:56. Look how close. Legion of LA is there. It's basically tied when you look at it. Draft also on an incredible day. We have 3 teams within 1 second at that check right now. What an absolutely brilliant race we've got on our hands. What a way to wrap up season 2 of the ZRL. Ryan Larson. Hey, Matt, wouldn't you say Ryan Larson has been another standout rider this year, finding the podium a few times, a perennial contender?
Yeah, he's got a very, very fast finish as well. He's exceptionally quick. Got that kind of kick at the end, but he's having to use that kind of strength in a completely different way now as we look at Pio Auto Ceramic Speed. Remember, they sit in a 3rd position at the moment. They'll be going through that second intermediate split very, very shortly. Kirkmeyer now lead, as Dave just said, leads of Los Angeles, only 0.081 of a second behind. That's around just under a 1/10 of a second behind. And then we just got that split will come up very, very shortly. What are Pio Auto going to do? We know that they're still to be caught by a Canyon Esports. Canyon Esports bearing down, and they're making it very, very hard indeed. There we go. Canyon Esports 29:34. They are the quickest team so far. 21 seconds ahead now. They've pulled a massive chunk of time out over the last few Ks in between split number 1 and 2. Canyon are going to catch Pio Auto Ceramic Speed. This is the ride for them so far this season. They are absolutely romping. They believe, Dave, they believe that it's all in their hands. All they can do is ride the quickest they can. And importantly, they've still got 5 riders as well. The catch about to be made.
They look like they've done enough to me, Matt, to tell you the truth. Now, this next team that we have coming through, that split at 24K, and again, that's 7 kilometers before the finish. This is going to tell us a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm bracing myself, because if Saris the Pros Closet comes through outside of 4th here, so Look how many teams are stacked up. 21 seconds back, 22 seconds. Oh, there it is, 15.96. They're doing just enough. It's about 5 seconds in the balance, Matt. This could go any different direction. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is bike racing at its very best. Esports finale of the Z Racing League has come down to this. Matt, there is no way you can say definitively who's going to be our Season 2 champion. This one is going to come down to heart, precision. Forget about patience now. That doesn't matter. It's about just go.
Yeah, but now the situation on the road is out of their hands. I mean, clearly, Canyon have got a good lead. They've got 15.96 seconds and nearly 16 seconds over Saris. But that is kind of irrelevant if Saris still stays second. That it's up to it's kind of Legion of Los Angeles at 22 seconds. Kirkmare at 21. They've been overtaken by Saris. So Saris's rate of progression is on the ascendancy as we look at one of the first teams to finish now. It's going to be what Kiss Racing have done. Restart now on the green, thundering down the finishing straight. So Kiss Racing have set the first time of 39.05. Restart just crossed the line. So their season is done and dusted. So Restart looks as if they're going to be safely staying in the Premier Division this year. But what a battle we're having out on the road here, Dave, today.
Yeah, man, it doesn't get better than this. Now, really, to be clear, Canyon needs more than just winning this race and beating Ceres the Close Closet. They need 2 other teams to come across the line faster than Ceres the Pros Closet as well. They're 2 teams with a good shot at doing that, although, Matt, I guess I wouldn't say good shot, with a shot, I should say, because I think that Ceres the Pros Closet has kept a little extra for the finale. I think they've got a little more nitrous that they can throw at this here for the last 7K. They're going to need it because these teams, so Canyon wishes that they could take a little bit of their pixie dust, whatever the magic dust is that's working for them, and sprinkle it on these other teams and make them just a few seconds faster. Boy, you almost wish you could take 20 Lionel Viasen watts and give it to another team, because that might be what it takes. One super pull.
We'll soon find out. We've just seen that team Swedish Zwifters, I think they were almost actually caught. Well, Vitus weren't too far behind. They crossed the line as well. It's 1 kilometre to go for World of Elite Zwifters now. And Dutch Racing still to finish. This is Canyon actually catching Callis. So Canyon absolutely flying, as we well know. They've actually made up, well, 2 minutes they've actually made up on Callis, and Callis are no slouches at the team time trial.
Oh.
So they're absolutely flying. It looks like they're actually catching the Dutch team as well, so they're on to the mall. Their finish won't be long. They're going to go round the back of the mall, head up, of course, past the Buckingham Palace, then head back down again. So they've still got about 2.5 Ks to go. Have the men for Ollie Jones, Vuyasan. This is the finishing now for the Bolt Racing team at the moment. Well, absolutely wonderful stuff out there. But as you said, Canyon Esports, I think, are going to win the night. But it all matters about can Saris and the Pros Closet hold on to second place? Because if the situation on the road remains the same, Dave, Saris and the Pros Closet are the champions.
Yeah, and smart money would stay with them at this point, Matt, but anything can happen out here. And this isn't a cyclocross, anything could happen when Matthew Van der Poel has a 3-minute lead with 1 lap to go. This is a legitimate chance of anything could happen out here, as it's going to come down to how they got here. As they say, you dance with the one that you came with. Well, Ceres the Pros Closet has been incredibly consistent throughout this season, Matt. They haven't won an individual day of racing throughout this season, but they've always been right there on the top of the table, and it looks like that might just pay off here today. As we take a look at the teams now that are really going to be digging in here, the finale is brutal in the discipline of the team time trial. It's impressive to see teams with 5 riders still together here.
Yeah, this is the insured powered by pedal power coming into their finish. Morris, Collard, Simmons, Ostveld, and Goldrick finishing very, very shortly. They'll be glad it's all over. They've had a solid season so far. Came into this final round Well, Pio Auto have just gone past Canyon again here. So Pio Auto, in the process, all they're going to do is draw out Canyon. Pio Auto are full of fight. I think they're a very, very proud team indeed. They know that they can't beat them, but they certainly are going to try and finish them in front of them. But all this is going to do is make Canyon Esports go even quicker. We've got a proper battle. But in the process, this is very interesting indeed, because Canyon are losing a rider. It looks like Ollie Jones has actually been distanced. Viasan now finding West has been dropped now. Cigarettes and Vuyasan. So West has been distanced now. Maybe he did do that on purpose, because they've only got about 1.6 Ks to go now, Dave.
Yeah, I believe like a booster rocket is what they're doing. There is using up riders, taking one monster pull, because the time taken off of the third rider, always important to remember. Canyon still with 4, and that's how you get an extra half second, is by sacrificing a rider. But that is high, that's master class team time trialing. But if there's anyone that could do it, this is going to be the Zwift Warriors finishing, with Ikeda bringing them across the line. They had a very good early split. We'll see how that holds up for them here as we'll start populating our finish times now. Kirkmeyer in with that 38.26, the fastest time. Draft right behind them, only 5.73 seconds back. That's a great ride from Draft out here today. Well done, guys.
Yep, solid ride. Very, very good. One of their best rides of the season so far. The Legion of Los Angeles finishing very, very strongly indeed. Freddie Ovet just distancing his teammates. Remember, it is the third rider across the line where the time will be taken to Ovet, the first home from the Legion of Los Angeles. And again, we've got Jones, Vuyasan, Muller, Segerbrook. What can they do? They will certainly, I think, post the fastest time of the night, the way they're riding at the moment. But the big question is, who is going to finish in second, third and fourth position? That could possibly change the outcome of this whole season. This is the final race of Season 2 of the Zwift Racing League. Canyon Esports fighting for the win. They are the defending champions of Season 1. They've got about 200 metres to go now. They're blobbing up. Segerbrook is going. Vuyasan, Jones and Muller. They could not have done any more. They have pulled out their performance of the season so far. But is it going to be enough? They're all across the road, and they cross the line now. We'll get the confirmation of the time. Pio Auto just behind them. So there's a proper ding-dong battle. There we go, 37.45. The Dutch also finishing there. 37.45 is the best time so far. Pio Auto ceramic speed at 32. And here they are. This is Saracen the Pro's Closet, Dave.
Well, and this is it. It's all on the line right here, right now. As Ryan Larson looks like he's going to bring the team home, I think that they are just inside of the schedule that they needed to create and hold on to. So let's see. We'll have to let all the suds settle out here. There's the finish gantry, and this should be your championship ride, the gold standard, as Saris the Pros Closet is going to bring this one home and put paid to what has been an amazing 2021 Season 2 for the ZRL. This one is done and dusted. So, Matt, it'll be for all our scorers now. They're crunching the numbers. Did they do enough?
Well, they crossed the line. Larson the first home. Fleeman looked like he was the third counter. We wait with bated breath to see what the results are. Remember, all of these results are subject to confirmation. But look at that, Canyon Esports,
wow.
Will they take the win on the night? Second place goes to Pio Auto. Ceramic speed. Wow, 2 seconds in it there. So Saris and the Pros Closet third. Remember, these are provisional results. So Pio Auto, ceramic speed, that little battle at the end, and seeing them move ahead of Saris and the Pros Closet. So it looks as if the overall would mean they were equal on points. Kirkmeyer fourth at 41. Legion fifth, solid performance by them yet again. Draft in sixth. Finesse Rockets in seventh. World of Elite Swifters are in eighth. Restart, what a performance by Restart to finish inside the top 10 at 107. And then Dutch Racing rounding out the top 10. Well, what a fascinating battle that is. We'll have a look at the rest of the top 20. Remember, 21 teams started out today. We'll just move on to look at the teams, and we'll need to get our bean counters on things. So Team Swedish Swifters in 11th. Then we have Kiss Racing Team, Turbo, Aero, No Pins, R3R. The Zwift Warriors in 16th. Bolt Race Team, BRT in 17th. Insured, powered by Pedal Power in 18th. Vitus Esports, started really 3 men, remember, in 19th. And then Callas Esports rounding out the top 20 at 222. Dave, what can you say? An absolute nail-biter of a finish, subject to confirmation. But what a win on the night by Canyon, but third place for the leaders coming into the final round of Saris. We shall get the provisional rankings in a moment's time. So we're all back on the screen, but, well, we're going to wait for the dust to settle there, Dave. But what an absolutely magnificent performance by Canyon Esports tonight. What more could they do? And they absolutely, well, they romped home tonight. It was a big winning margin on a very fast course.
If Kirkmeyer had gone 6 seconds faster, or Legion of LA had gone 10 seconds faster, which is in that margin of error, we would have had a different league champion for season 2, as far as my early math tells me here, Matt. That is as close as it gets. Hannah, this lived up to what we were hoping for. I think we saw it all this season, to tell you the truth. We saw a dominant team